Yeah, Tommy, I've got the those reports on those ancient UFO sightings. How you doing?
Yeah, good on you, Danny. Hope you're well as well, mate. Yeah, interesting that you should say that. We've also got rocks that were found in the human province of China, and these go back to nearly 47,000 years of age. The Neanderthal period, also sightings and carvings of cylindrical objects resembling spacecraft. What do you reckon of that, Danny?
Yeah, magnificent, Tommy. I've got some reports from the Annals of Thutmose III, who reigned around 1504 to 1450 BC, and those records indicated a fleet of flying craft. They were described as a circle of fire that was coming in the sky. It had no head, the breath of its mouth had a foul odour, and its body 1 rod long and 1 rod wide. It had no voice. In quotation, following this sighting, many others followed as the papyrus goes on. Go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, good work, Danny. The prophet Ezekiel described an encounter in sections 1 to 3 of the Bible, which is can be interpreted as a UFO sighting and that of extraterrestrial beings. There's also further descriptions of it and that give reference to alien abductions, and that's a bit of an interesting one. But further to that, the Bible makes continuous references throughout referring to modern and ancient UFO encounters, and 4 of which are referenced here as cherubim and seraphim, and they're mentioned later in the book of Revelations and other books as well. So that's a cracker. What do you reckon of that?
Yeah, well played, Tommy. What do I reckon of that? Well, it appears that throughout Earth's history there seems to be enormous amounts of information littered, absolutely littered with UFO reports or reports of flying craft. Here's a few more. Julius of Sequence, who is believed to have lived in the 4th century AD, that's after the death of the superstar, the Nazarene or Jesus Christ. He wrote a book entitled the Protegorium Liber. The book describes several reports of UFO-like phenomena, and here are just a few of them. 216 BC, before the birth of Christ, things like ships were seen in the sky over Italy. At Arpi, a round shield was seen in the sky. At Capua, the sky was all on fire, and one saw figures like ships. In 99 BC, in quotation, there fell in different places a thing like a flaming torch, and it came suddenly from the sky toward sunset. A round object like a globe or round circular shield took its path in the sky from west to east. And again in 90 BC, a globe of fire of golden colour fell to earth, gyrating. It then seemed to increase in size. It rose from the earth and ascended into the sky, where it obscured the disk of the sun with its brilliance. It revolved towards the eastern quadrant of the sky. Magnificent. What more stuff you got, Tommy?
Yeah, very good point there, Danny. Do you remember that fella, Professor Conrad Wolfhard? I think we talked about him a few days ago, but he mentioned and some subscripts that were written in the year 393 AD, where he talks about a globe-like object which shone in the sky, and that's a bit of a cracker. Some of the descriptions he gave here, he looks at a luminous globe which was soon joined with other globes of light, which formed a triangular pattern which seemed to manoeuvre itself in unison. That's a bit of a cracker. And one of the books that he put together, he described a strange cigar-shaped object surrounded with flames that passed over the sky on a straight course, and this was in the year 1034 AD.
That's interesting.
That's great, and I think it is interesting because on another date, in 1180, on October 27th, they've got some information here. A flying earthenware vessel was seen moving northeast from a mountain in Kili province, then suddenly changed its direction and disappeared over the horizon. So there's some fair income engineering going on here up in the skies on Earth. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, that's very interesting, Tommy, because there are lots of reports of those cigar-shaped craft floating through Earth's atmosphere in more contemporary times. But anyway, let's continue. In the 12th century, so over 800 years ago, William of Newborough describes a silvery, flat, shiny, disc-like object which appeared near an abbey, frightening those who saw it, and a priest was spared his life on September 12, in the year 1271 in Japan when a shiny, bright object appeared in the sky, causing the executioners, Roger, to panic. In 1361, a 20-foot diameter craft, in quotations, a flying drum, was seen in western Japan. And on March 8, in 1468, a dark object flew towards the west from Mount Kuziga at midnight. And continuing on November 4 in the year 1322 AD, in quotations, a pillar of fire was seen over the sky in Uxbridge, England. And it was the size of a small boat and emitted bright red flames from the front and beams of light. I don't think it was a military craft back in the year 1322. And in November, December in 1387, a fire in the sky like a burning and revolving wheel was seen in Leicester and Northamptonshire in England. The object emitted fire from above and others in the shape of a long fiery beam. And finally on November 1, 1461, a large fiery iron rod, here comes the rods again, was seen in the sky over Arras in France. Tommy, what more have you got?
That's a beauty, Danny. Well, here's a bigger cracker, because Mr. Cracker, nearly 250 plus years ago, on the planet Earth, saw a bright silvery object in the sky. This was in the later parts of the year in December. The object moved at great speed and was clearly visible in broad daylight. Two other gentlemen were said to have witnessed the same event. 10 years later, again in December, a member of the Royal Society in London saw a strange object in the sky while on his way home. He described the large object as bright and moving slowly and having a flame coming out the back. Maybe that has something to do with propulsion. It had a frame on one end like bars of iron. That's a bit weird. Now, 200 years ago, just over 200 years ago, in September, a beautiful ball blazing with white light was seen early morning in England. It made no sound and red sparks flew from it. On November 12, a little later, a large red pillar of fire was seen in the sky going south Hereford, England. It was preceded by flashes of extremely wild and vivid electrical sort. Other object was seen early that following morning, leaving luminous trails behind them. Further, a few months later after that, on the 19th of November, a ball of fire passed in the sky over Huncoats and Lincolnshire. So there's a few more, a bit of activity going on over there in the UK. I wonder how much activity's gone around Stonehenge as a bit of a guidance, geometrical steering point for these craft. What do you reckon, Danny?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good work, Tommy. Further reports indicate on January 24 in 1878, a dark disc-shaped object sailed across the sky at great speed. It was seen by a Texas farmer named John Martin. Further to that, a giant luminous wheels were sighted. So several wheels were sighted several times in the Persian Gulf by the crew of the Vulture on May 15 in 1879. The British Patna and the SS Kilwa on April 10, 1901. Similar objects were seen in the China Sea by a British steamer in 1906 and a Danish captain in 1909. These objects were described as rotating wheels which could go underwater. A little bit like a Ferris wheel on fire, out of control, leaving the park and going underwater. Very interesting. UFO sightings have increased greatly over Canada and the US in 1896 and 1897. In April of 1897, 10,000 residents of Kansas City, Missouri, saw a large black ship hover over the head, flash green, blue and white lights, then move straight up into space rapidly. Many other UFO sightings were reported, described as cigar-shaped, metallic craft with either wings, propellers, fins, orbed searchlights, probably orb searchlights, and bright lights were seen during the night. And these cigar-shaped lights tend to be being picked up over many parts of the Earth for many centuries. That's about it, Tommy. Well played. We'll talk to you a bit later on.